Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this Booking the Wrestler. This is number 2 of Bray Wyatt versus Bo Dallas. If you've seen the first one, you already know most of what I said, including the part where Bray Wyatt had to absorb the energy, the light, took all the light and turned it into darkness of himself and absorbed that energy so he would destroy John Cena. Yeah, I said that. It was kind of different, kind of taking something there. But now I'm going to rectify something the WWE has done so wrong. Undertaker versus a Brock Lesnar. Look, a lot of hardcore fans, casual fans, and several fans in between who have seen The Undertaker for a few years have never been 100% happy what happened between Brock and The Undertaker. As much as Brock Lesnar would say, well, it was great doing that with The Undertaker and I did get a benefit. As well as The Undertaker saying, I'm glad to get rid of that thing because it was a very big burden. And Vince himself saying, that was great television, shock and awe. That hurt. Didn't help my stomach, it didn't help my throat. Sorry. But seeing that did not please the fans. The fans would have either liked him to give it to someone that was worth giving it to, or keep it and retire with it. So in this respect, I'm giving it to Bray Wyatt. This is how I would book it. The match between Bray Wyatt and John Cena wasn't really defining it in the last video. In this case, I would say that was around Survivor Series. That's when I would probably do that match, where Bray finally defeats John Cena. After that match at Survivor Series, Bray Wyatt would be showing himself at the very beginning of the show. And he would, and this would be one of the rare times I would have him outside the 1 month, only talking 1 month in the very beginning of the show. As I said in my first video, Bray Wyatt would only talk once a month and a promo in the ring at the very beginning of the show only. He would not talk anywhere else. He would have maybe one interview once every 2 weeks to make it very special. He would still go into matches, but he would be special. It would be rare for him to talk. So in this case, he would talk. And he would say simply, I have destroyed John Cena, but there's still one person that must be destroyed so I can truly solidify my true legacy. Undertaker is the one I must destroy. Undertaker is the one I must have. Undertaker, you must come to me. So after that, for the next 5 months, which would be November, December, January, February, March, 1 month before it would happen, he would be calling out The Undertaker every time he went into the ring. He'd be screaming for The Undertaker, calling for The Undertaker, destroying people's names, saying, you're not The Undertaker. Who are you? Smack him in the face. Who are you? Smack him in the face. You are not The Undertaker. Your name means nothing. Smack, smack. That is what he would do after he would destroy them with his sister Abigail. Every single time. No mic. Just screaming in the ring, you are not The Undertaker. I want The Undertaker. He's screaming for him for 5 months. 3 months before he would actually go to WrestleMania, around February, The Undertaker's sightings would happen. There would be lights. I know I could make this a lot more shorter. I could do this earlier than this. Maybe about January. Maybe at Royal Rumble he would actually see The Undertaker when he goes for the Royal Rumble. Which he would go for the Royal Rumble, but he would get eliminated more than halfway down the line. He would not win to get the title going to WrestleMania. It's not about that. This is about trying to get The Undertaker. And every person he gets in the ring with, he would scream, you're not The Undertaker, and smack him. It didn't really matter if he won the match or not. He would smack the hell out of him saying, I want The Undertaker, you're not The Undertaker, get the hell out of here. But around February, just well before WrestleMania in April, The Undertaker would start being seen. The lights would begin to flicker. Bray would be excited. Say by the end of February going into March, finally Undertaker would appear. He would come from the back, dressed as he's been dressing as for the last 10 years. But he would not come down to the ring. He would go in front of Bray and say simply, "You believe that you are the Eater of Worlds. You cannot be the Eater of Worlds. I am. No one has destroyed what I've destroyed. No one has created what I've created. No one." And Kane would then come right behind him. "I am the true destroyer of light." He would turn around with his brother, hold his arm up like he's done with the Brothers of Destruction. Now you think, well, that means they're going to have a match, some type of tag team. No. The two brothers have to be there, so it would be understandable to everyone how special this is. Even though The Undertaker started in 1990 and Kane started around 1997, they've been connected to the hip because of Paul Heyman and Brother Love. So basically speaking, you have to have these two together for this situation to really culminate the ending of The Undertaker's streak. There would be no interaction between them. Bray would continue doing what he's been doing. "You're not The Undertaker. Give me The Undertaker." Periodically, once every 2 weeks, The Undertaker would show up. And then it would finally reach the time of WrestleMania 30 is when it should have happened. It should have happened in WrestleMania 30. And that's where I would book this. But since we are in 2016, this is WrestleMania 32. So this will be booked in WrestleMania 32, where Bray Wyatt would face The Undertaker. The Undertaker has not been defeated by Brock at this time. In my version, he has not been defeated by Brock Lesnar. The match never happened. As much as we wish it never happened, we know it did. This is what would happen. The Undertaker would get into the ring. Kane would be at ringside. Non-interference would be watching. Now, I know I could bring in Paul Heyman and Earn, but that's not going to happen here because this doesn't need to happen. This doesn't need to be there. So in the end, after a very grueling 25-minute match, where The Undertaker would begin to really show that he's losing his power, because by the 15-minute mark, where The Undertaker would be in one corner and Bray would be in the other, The Undertaker would get a shining light on top of him. It would be a red light, and it would encircle him as he stands up. And then the light begins to diminish. The light begins to get smaller and smaller around him. Now, of course, the lighting in the entire arena would have to be a bit dimmed to make sure we could actually see it. But as time goes on, within about a minute, we see a huge light when The Undertaker sits up after a Sister Abigail. And Bray Wyatt goes to one corner. The Undertaker gets up and goes over to another one. As he's standing there ready to fight again, the red light appears around him. And like I said, it begins to shrink and shrink. And then a light around Bray begins to brighten up. Begins to grow and grow until the light fully engulfs Bray and the light around The Undertaker is gone. And The Undertaker looks at his hands and looks up. And he says, "No." Even Kane, he understands what has happened. And he turns around and he walks away because he knows his brother's powers are now gone. And he's an ordinary man. And that is when Bray defeats The Undertaker with a Sister Abigail. Not with a tombstone pile driver. It is a Sister Abigail, his own move. And he wins the streak. And this is how I would book Bray Wyatt, as strongly as possible. So he would get something from The Undertaker's legacy. Because basically, we're taking one really creepy, weird bastard of a wrestler who has scared us, shocked us, awed us for years. And we've transferred a large chunk of that character, that legacy, to another wrestler. And this is what I want to do for Bray. This is what should have been done with him 2 years ago instead of Brock Lesnar. Because he's not even the same character. So this is what I would do with Bray Wyatt. And I hope you enjoyed this Booking the Wrestler Bray Wyatt please, well, Bray Wyatt versus Bo Dallas. Almost made a mistake there. Watch for the last one, Bray Wyatt versus Bo Dallas. Finally, they clash. Well, not clash yet. They still got to build Bo Dallas next. It's going to be fun. Have a good day and have a good night.